What happens when we play God and our creations grow out of our control? What are the implications of AI and can it grow out of our control? One of my favorite classics I've ever read is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, written in 1816 and published in 1818. This was written in a rainy summer in Switzerland, although Mary Shelley herself was from England. A popular theme during this era was the fear of man versus nature, or man playing God. We also see that in one of my other favorite classics, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where a scientist figures out a way to separate the good and bad parts of himself. Frankenstein is the last name of a scientist, and he decides to create this being. After he creates this being, he is horrified by his appearance and completely abandons him. This monster tries to integrate into society and learn about people, but everyone keeps rejecting him because of his appearance. This leads him to view society from a very outward perspective. He is kind of sitting and watching this family from the forest and trying to learn about humanity. It gives this very beautiful, naive look onto our customs and language and the way that we are. Eventually, this being becomes so rejected and abandoned through society that he turns violent. He wants to take revenge on his creator by harming people that are close to him. And it's this interesting case of nature versus nurture, because at the start of the book, he is not vengeful, he's not hateful, he's more so hurt. And then through the constant rejection, he starts to become very hateful. My person was hideous and my stature gigantic. What did this mean? Who was I? What was I? Whence did I come? What was my destination? These questions continually recurred, but I was unable to solve them. And I can't say that that's a feeling that is completely alien to all of us, even being human ourselves. They are kind, they are the most excellent creatures in the world, but unfortunately they are prejudiced against me. I have good dispositions, my life has hitherto harmless, and in some degree beneficial, but a fatal prejudice clouds their eyes, and where they ought to see a feeling and kind friend, they behold only a detestable monster. This book is a lot more heart-wrenching than I originally thought. I feel like the Hollywoodized version of Frankenstein is much more of a monster and it's scary, but it's actually very sad, and it kind of depicts the alienation, social isolation, and prejudice with sci-fi elements. How is AI able to relate to this 1818 sci-fi text? This article found at thescientificamerican.com says, "The idea that this stuff could actually get smarter than people I thought was way off. Obviously, I no longer think that. Geoffrey Hinton, one of Google's top artificial intelligence scientists, also known as the godfather of AI, said after he quit his job in April so that he can warn about the dangers of this technology." Another quote from this article, "This rapid acceleration promises to soon result in artificial general intelligence, AGI, and when that happens, AI will be able to improve itself with no human intervention. For example, Google's AlphaZero AI learned how to play chess better than even the very best human or other AI chess players in just 9 hours from when it was first turned on. It achieved this feat by playing itself millions of times over." I believe at the moment we currently program AI, and even ChatGPT responds based on things it knows. But if AGI can start improving on itself, what's to say it won't completely get out of our control? I think that's a very common fear that a lot of us have nowadays. If it can perform and learn a task in a few seconds, something that takes a human a year to do, what's to say that it won't take us over? Where does that really leave us? Does AI have morality, and will it continue to have morality as it improves upon itself? Not only is AI dangerous because we fear the lack of control, but it's also dangerous for the human mind. AI in schools, for example, this article is by Illinois College of Education. Studies have shown significant bias in GPT, generative pre-trained transformers, ChatGPT, against non-native English speakers. For example, one study shows over half of non-native English writing samples were misclassified as AI generated, while the accuracy for native English speakers was nearly perfect. Part of the problem with GPT detectors are programmed to recognize language that is more literary and complex as more human. Thus, writers not using such language are more likely to be categorized as using AI-generated content and could be unjustly flagged for AI plagiarism. Non-English-speaking students may be falsely accused of cheating, which can undermine their academic career and damage their psyches. So it talks about the reduction of human interaction from, say, student to professor, because you can even plug in an entire multiple-choice question or true and false question into ChatGPT, and it will give you the answer, at least the answer that it thinks is right. It's not always 100% accurate. I'm a student myself, and I recently had an open book test, and I realized how much time you can save by using AI for multiple choice. but how little you learn, because there is so much knowledge and skill to be gained from looking through a textbook for an answer rather than just plugging everything into a robot and it tells you. Especially because while looking for an answer, you might find more information. You'll remember where it is in the text, and you're going to remember the information more if you've sifted for it versus plugging it into an AI system. Lose the essential human skill of producing ideas. You can, even if, let's say, you write an essay yourself for school, but you asked ChatGPT for what the intro, conclusion, and maybe 3-paragraph arguments should be, you can still write something yourself from there, but then you're losing that essential skill of critical thinking, of identifying themes in a book and identifying arguments, what you should write about. It might be a slow shift over time, but it will definitely have its impact. Unpredictability and inaccurate information. AI is only as good as the algorithms it is based on. If the data it draws from is inaccurate or biased, then the information it creates will be inaccurate or biased. Students need to learn how to evaluate and think critically about the information they come across and not just accept it at face value. There are many educational resources accessible online to help them do that. There's also the fear that AI is going to cause job losses or jobs becoming completely obsolete due to AI. A lot of these systems are built to agree with you most of the time, and that can be a very dangerous affirmation if it falls in the wrong hands. Let's talk about some of the positives of AI, just to be fair. The University of Cincinnati wrote this article on the positives of AI. It could be used to help with scientific research and discovery, improve customer service experiences, create more jobs within the tech field. This is a slightly more comforting article. Why AI won't take over the world anytime soon, and this is by Forbes. This is even true of the generative AI tools that are dazzling us with their ability to create content across multiple modalities. They can draft essays, recognize elements in photographs, and even compose music. However, at their core, these advanced AIs are still just making mathematical predictions based on the vast data sets. They do not truly understand the content they generate or the world around them. AI can never fully replace artists. It really does take the human soul to produce good poetry, write good music, paint, and we don't want to lose those things to AI. I asked AI itself about its environmental impact. And because if you don't know this, I just learned this recently, AI has a significant environmental impact due to high energy consumption for training and running models, extensive water use for cooling data centers, and a large carbon footprint from electricity generation and the mining of materials for hardware. So there is a lot of conflicting information out there. I don't think that AI is here to completely replace artists, but that's not to say that I don't think there are way more negatives than positives with AI. Question of man versus science or man versus creation or playing God are still just as prevalent today as they were in the 1800s, and that's why I love talking about classics and relating them to modern life, because a lot of these struggles and feelings that people felt in what seems like so long ago are just kind of general human emotions that we all relate to over time. We do have a real fear of our creations turning against us, the advancement of science and innovation, the morality of all of this science. This was the second or third classic I ever read and definitely solidified my love for classics. I'm filming on my brand new camera, if you couldn't tell by the video quality, and when I went like this, it just automatically focused. This was a very expensive camera, so I would hope that it has these qualities. What do you think about the advancement of AI? Let me know down below. Are you afraid of it? Do you not feel that afraid of it? Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe for more video essays as well as vlogs of my life as a student. I'm going back to the UK soon, so I will definitely be vlogging then. I also have a dark pop EP out called Easy to Miss, and everything is linked down below. I would love to have you here, and thank you again so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye!